Good morning, fourth grade. Today we're going to be working on fluently subtracting multi-digit numbers just like yesterday. This is our second day of working on subtraction, so let's get started. Our learning target today is I can fluently subtract multi-digit numbers using my knowledge of place value. Here is our first problem today that we're going to work on. 60,751 minus 8,419. Notice over here, if I look in my 10 thousandths place, there isn't a digit there. I'm going to go ahead and insert a 0. That way I have a number in every place value and there's no confusion when I'm subtracting. Let's get started. 1 minus 9. I know that I cannot take 9 ones from 1. There's not enough, so I'm going to go over to the next place value, which is the tens place. I'm going to borrow a 10, and now that's going to change to 40. I'm going to bring the 10 to the ones place, and 10 plus 1 is 11. Now 11 minus 9 is 2. I can keep subtracting. I have 4 tens minus 1 10, or 40 minus 10, which is 30. Moving to my hundredths place, 700 minus 400 is 300. Now let's go to the thousandths place. What do you notice? That's right, I cannot subtract 8 from 0. So I need to go over to my 10 thousandths place, and I need to borrow a 10,000. So 60,000 is going to change to 50,000. I'm going to bring my 10,000 over to my thousandths. So now I have 10,000 minus 8,000, and I can subtract that, and that leaves me with 2,000. And then I have 50,000 minus 0, which is going to be 50,000. So my answer is 52,332. Now let's do an estimate of this problem to see if we're going to have a reasonable answer. If I look at my number, I have 60,751. If I'm thinking of my number line, it starts at 60,000 and ends at 70,000. And in the middle, can you think of what's in the middle of that number line? 60,500. That's correct. Well, if I look at my hundredths place, 751 is larger than 500, so I know that this number is going to round to 61,000. Now, let's look at 8,419. If I'm thinking of my number line, it begins at 8,000, it ends at 9,000, and in the middle again is 8,500. If I look at my hundredths place, I see that 419, I know that that is less than 500, so this is going to be closer to 8,000. So I'm going to write 8,000 here. Now, did you notice where I wrote the 8? Boys and girls, you have to make sure that you put it back in the thousandths place. Otherwise, it's going to be incorrect. Now, remember, I do not have a digit here, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 there just so I'm not confused when I'm subtracting. Let's get started. 0 minus 0, there aren't any ones, there aren't any tens, there aren't any hundreds. That's pretty simple. But notice, 1,000 minus 8,000, I cannot subtract that. So I need to go over to my 10 thousandths. This becomes 50,000. I'm going to bring my 10,000 over and add it. So now I have 11,000 minus 8,000 is 3,000. 50,000 minus 0 is 50,000. So my estimate is 53,000, which is very reasonable to this answer that I got here. Now, let's look at another problem. We're going to move to the hundred thousandths and see if we can do some subtraction. Same process. We're just going to keep moving to each place value. We just added another digit. So this should be very simple. Let's start in the ones place. I know that I cannot subtract 2 ones from 1, so I need to go to my tens place. Oh, there's a problem. There aren't any tens, so that means I have to go over to my hundredths place, and I need to borrow and make this a 4. I'm borrowing a 100. So now I'm going to bring that 100 back over here, but when I bring it, I'm actually making it 10 tens because this is the tens place. And now I can borrow a 10 to bring to my ones place, so that means now I just have 9 tens. I'm going to add that 10 over here to the ones, and now I have 11 ones. 11 minus 2 is 9. 9 10 minus 0 tens is 9 tens. 4 hundredths minus 400 is 0. 8,000 minus 5,000 is 3,000. Let's go to the 10 thousandths. We have 60,000 minus 80,000. I cannot do that, so I need to go to the hundred thousands place. I need to borrow 100,000, and then I'm going to add it here. So now I have 160,000 minus 80,000, which is 80,000, and then 100,000 minus 100,000 isn't anything. So I do not have to drop my zero. So my answer to this is 83,099. Now we're going to finish up our lesson today with a word problem. And I really want you to pay attention to the words. And we're going to see how we're supposed to write this word problem and what operation we're going to be using. A newspaper company delivered 240,900 newspapers before 6 a.m. on Sunday. There were a total of 525,600 newspapers to deliver. How many more newspapers needed to be delivered on Sunday? I know, let me think, what do I know? I know that there were 240,000 newspapers delivered before 6, and then there were a total of 525,600 delivered in all. So I'm just going to go ahead and write my problem. I've already written it here. Look at my problem. Boys and girls, is there something wrong with my problem? Yes, there is. I'm going to put a big X over this. Here's why. When I read my word problem, I just wrote the first number that I saw, and then I put the second number that I saw, and I'm ready to subtract. But there's a problem. I can't subtract 240,900 minus 525,600. It's written incorrectly. A lot of fourth graders make this mistake, because all they do is read the problem and put the first number on top and the second number on the bottom. We really have to analyze the problem to see what we need to do. Let's go back to the problem. There were a total of 525,600 newspapers. That means in all, that's how many were delivered. It said they delivered 240,900 newspapers before 6 a.m. So if I want to know how many more needed to be delivered, I need to find the difference of those two numbers. So this is the way the problem should be written. 525,600, because that was the total. 240,900 were how many were delivered before 6 a.m. And so now I am looking for the difference to find out how many more newspapers needed to be delivered. So let's go ahead and subtract. In our ones place, we have 0 minus 0 is 0. In our tens, 0 minus 0 is 0. In my hundreds place, I have 600 minus 900. Boys and girls, I cannot do that. So I'm going to go to my thousands place. I'm going to borrow 1,000. That's going to be 4,000. I'm going to bring my 1,000 over here. So now I have 1,600 minus 900, which is 700. Now let's go back to my thousands place. I have 4,000 minus 0, which is 4,000. And then let's go over to the 10,000s. I cannot subtract 20,000 minus 40,000, so I need to borrow from my 100,000s. Make that a 400,000. Bring my 100,000 over, and I have 120,000 minus 40,000, which is 80,000. Back to my 100,000s place. 400,000 minus 200,000 is 284,700. Now, let's look at our learning target one more time. I can fluently subtract multi-digit numbers using my knowledge of place value. And boys and girls, we've been doing that a lot today. Now, you're going to try some on your own. If you need extra support, please watch the video again and stop and rewatch as needed. If you still need support, please reach out to your teacher.